So today we're talking about our 2024 Hyundai IONIQ 6 SEL. This is one of those that we picked up because the lease deals were just too good to pass up. When I first saw the car originally, I don't know, several months ago or whatever it was, I wasn't so thrilled on the back end design and the overall appearance of the car, but I've come to like it. Has grown on me a little bit, but I will say the car is pretty impressive. The overall performance and the features you get at the SEL is kind of a sweet spot. The Limited is definitely a nicer trim. Of the current lease deals, these can be had for less than $300 a month with less than $2,000 down, and I think it's a pretty sharp car for what it is. So let's talk about what it has to offer. To begin with, we chose this trim over the base trim with the rear-wheel drive. You can get for, gosh, I think the advertised price right now is $189 lease deal for 24 months with 12,000 miles. But it comes with the base rims and the cloth interior. This version with the 20-inch rims, it definitely reduces the range. This is all-wheel drive, and I think the rated range is, I believe, 270-ish. And for our commuting locally and everything we do with it, it's not really an issue. It does have the super fast charging, which claims 10% to 80% in 18 minutes or so. And that's more than enough for what we need. And like I said, it's not intended to be our long distance driver. It's more meant for around town and that kind of stuff. The car has the flush door handles that do auto present when you walk up with the key fob in your pocket. This particular one has the gray interior. Really kind of opens it up and gives it a larger feel. Now this is much larger than the Tesla Model 3. If you've sat in the Tesla Model 3 back seats, you'll know that the back seats are kind of tight. And the back row has definitely got a lot of leg room. This seat is set for me, and you can see I've got, gosh, it looks like a good 12 inches of leg room. Plenty of leg room in the back seat. Compared to the Model 3, I definitely think it's got a lot more leg room, and I just feel it's definitely more comfortable than the Model 3. Some people have commented about the plastic nature of the door panels. I will admit they are plasticky, but Hyundai's done a good job with the kind of rib texture in here, and it is soft panel. It's a different design. It definitely has its own unique characteristics of the way the speaker grill is kind of incorporated in the whole grab panel, because there is no controls for your windows. That's all going to be in the center here. So it's kind of a unique setup. So, you know, you're constantly pulling on it, but it's definitely a comfortable setup. As I said before, the window controls are in the center, and it leaves the doors kind of open for just what it is. It does have the push button start and to turn on everything. It has the two large displays, and I always say Hyundai does a great job of their information setup, and to have everything that you would want, from your range to also the percentage at the same time. It's kind of a real nice setup. One thing I do like about Hyundai is their infotainment screen and setup. You know, off of having touchscreen and hard buttons. So, you know, you have your map to get to your map, and media to get to your XM. And, you know, I'm a big XM fan. I listen to XM 90% of the time during my drive. But if you hit media again, it will give you the choice of your Bluetooth and you can wire in Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I honestly don't use either of those often because I'm a big fan of XM and the built-in navigation, honestly, in the Hyundai product is pretty darn good. Clearly, I haven't had this car that long. We've only got 436 miles on it, but so far I've been very impressed. The 0 to 60 is pretty impressive. I think it's officially listed at 4.3 or 4.4 seconds, 0 to 60. And I did a little video verifying myself that I'll attach that shows 0 to 60 in 4.45 seconds. It's quick, quicker than it needs to be. This one does have the ambient lighting along the trim here, and then the upper and lower on the door sills, and you can customize those colors as well. The nice thing about the steering wheel, it also has the volume controls with the wheel here, which is really nice, as well as being able to go up and down through your station list, you know, right down the toggle here. It's nice to have that right there for you when you want it. You have your drive mode selector here, so when you switch over, it's just a quick, you know, toggle between them. So to get to sport mode is pretty quick, and it changes the display a little bit as you go. It does have their their version 2 of the highway drive assist, which is nice. It definitely does a good job, and I'll showcase that a little bit later in the video. That gives you the opportunity to, you know, it's not by any means self-driving. It's definitely keeping the lanes, but it does a good job for that. You know, it has the adaptive cruise. That's all part of that as well. It does have the wireless charger right here, and this is kind of nice. I like this better than in our Cadillac where you slide it in the sleeve. This one kind of works better with our we have the fold phones, and it has the stand on the back, and it doesn't always charge well. In others, here you set it, it charges. It has LED displays here to show you that it's charging, and that's kind of a nicer way of putting the phone there to charge, and it seems to charge pretty good. I haven't had any real issues with that charging. So on the SEL version, it does have the adjustments for the driver's seat that are power. On the passenger side, it is all manual. Good old-fashioned manual adjustments for the seat back, seat height, and to slide you forward and backwards. Another thing is the Hyundai build quality is pretty good. The doors, they don't feel light and cheap. When you open them, they've got some good feel to it, and when you close it, you don't feel like it's a cheap door closing. It's pretty solid, and you know, the curve of the side panel feels pretty good as well. The car does have a power trunk. Being that it's a trunk, it doesn't have as big an opening as say an SUV would, but it's a pretty big space back here. There's plenty of room for it. It does have some under storage. We use it just for the charging cable and everything that comes with it, but we'll probably never honestly open that up just because we leave it back there, and the trunk is more than big enough for groceries or whatever else, and it does have the power close as well. Well, how does the car drive? Well, let's take it out and give a little spin here. I definitely like the ride. It's a sporty ride. You know, we have the Cadillac Lyrics, and that is definitely a much softer Cadillac style ride. I would say this is more, you know, in line with what you would expect from a Hyundai Sonata or any of, you know, a Honda Accord. It rides firm, but definitely not rough. I don't feel like I'm being bounced all over the place. With any electric car, it has that smooth acceleration, and this car definitely gets up and goes. There's never a lag. There's nothing to it. It just drives, and I drive it in normal 99% of the time, and I definitely put it in sport when I want to have a little fun. But even in the normal mode, it'll move. Some things I do appreciate about the instrument cluster, like I was mentioning earlier, it does have your range as well as the percentage. It gives you your speed limit up top, as well as your other basic information, your kilowatt usage on the bottom. Again, I appreciate the updating of the speed and all that right in front of you. It's nice to have there without having to look at the maps. It's on the map as well. Most of the time I will drive with the XM on display because I'm driving this locally. I don't really need the map. I know where I'm going, for 99% of my travel. To go to map, I would simply select map and have the map as well. But as I said, most time I prefer the media displaying. Things I do like about the Hyundai over the Cadillac or others, Hyundai does a good job with their volume control, as well as being able, like I said earlier, to be able to tune up and down. It's just an easy, kind of thumb motion away, and it's great to have that right there for you. Like I said before, the car definitely will move, and it hugs the turns very well. I don't ever feel like, with these low profile tires, it just hugs the road. There's no body roll that I would judge it and say the car is just loose by any means. It's tight. It's a tight ride, and it definitely goes. You step on the gas and it moves, no doubt about it. Other things, as I said before, that I like with the Hyundai infotainment system is that their XM is pretty clean. I like the fact that it gives you your not just the numbers of what it is, but also has the station icons as well. It's a nice touch. It's touch screen, but most of the time when I'm going through it, I will go through with the toggle with my thumb. It's easier than just reaching out. The same thing with the volume. I'll use my thumb volume versus the volume on the knob, just because it's on the steering wheel. It's definitely a nice, smooth, quiet ride, and I definitely appreciate that. It goes, no doubt about it. It does have the paddles for adapting your regenerative braking, and as you can see, it's on level 2. I usually leave it on level 2, versus one pedal driving, just because, as I said earlier, I'm in and out of multiple cars between my cars and my truck, and it's just to go from one pedal driving to not having one pedal driving is just it's jarring when you're expecting, like if I've driven the truck in the morning and then I get in the Cadillac or this, and the truck is a truck. It's not the Lightning, it's a gas truck. So I'm used to letting off the gas and coasting a little bit, and it's all about that muscle memory. You get in the car and you let off the gas and you're expected to coast a little bit, and you're in regen braking, and it's just easier. And the level 2 on this, it's giving you regen, but not so much that it's jarring. You know, so, and then by braking you're getting heavier regen. Now, as I said before, when you're merging here, the car is going to get up and go. It has no lag. It just moves, and you'll never have to worry about merging because you're going to be there at speed before you need to be. So as I was saying, I love the fact that it's got the blind spot right on the screen in front of you and on the mirror. It's a nice feature. With the highway cruise, it also will give you it'll show the little designation of the other cars on the road as well, and it will stay and it will, you know, keep the lane, and it does a great job of this. The only thing I don't like so much about the Hyundai versus others, you know, like the Cadillac with the Super Cruise, you know, you'll have the big bar, it'll show you that the car is in control. Here, it's got that little green steering wheel, and yes, you're always driving the car, but, you know, it's nicer to know, like, when it clicks off, there should be either an audible ding or, you know, a little more than just the green light going out, because the green light will go out, and yes, you're driving, but it's just your level of driving when it's in this mode is you're letting the car do a better job of keeping itself in the lane, and which it will. I mean, the car had no hands on the wheel, and I you know, have my hand on the wheel, I guess you could say, but I'm letting the car kind of do its thing, and I'm just riding along and paying attention to the surroundings as we go. As you see here, it's telling me we're using 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, and we're doing 72. That's about what I've seen consistently with this. As I said before, it will show the blind spot, and it does have the green indicator lines showing that it's in the highway drive assist. And as you can see now, I've got besides the blind spot, it also shows the little depiction of the truck passing here. And again, that's just a nice feature to have. That, you know, if it wasn't there, it's all right, but it's nice that it's there. It kind of just gives you that extra layer of awareness of the cars around you, that, you know, the blind spot here is also on the mirror. You know, it's nice to have it in multiple places. So one thing I really do like about the Hyundai navigation versus others, it gives you a better depiction of what's coming up, what's your next expected turn with the sign. You know where you're going. It's a nice to have that kind of depiction of what you've got. It's necessary, you know, sure, you can do without it, but it's nice. It's just another layer of, you know, as you're doing a quick glance at where you're going. I really wish Google Map would do that, to have your ability to look at this guy cutting right back in front of me. And as I was saying, it's really nice having the next, you know, before we get there, I know what I'm looking for. You know, and clearly if you're using navigation, it's because you're in an area where you don't know where you're at. You know, if you're driving your normal stuff where you're at all the time, you're not navigating. So it's nice to have this extra layer to kind of give you the depiction of where you're going when you're going. I also like on the navigation how it shows what's at the next, or at the exits along the way. You know, you've got here showing you got McDonald's and Subway and other food and gas right there, and hotels. It shows you right on the navigation what's coming up, and that's just a really, really nice feature. As I said, what I really like about the navigation is you have the ability to kind of see what's along your exits along the road here. You know, where you've got food, where you've got stops. It's just nice to know when you're cruising along and you need a bathroom, you can see how far it is, what's where, without having to go in and out of other screens. It's just right there for you. So in the end, what are things I maybe don't like about the car? Well, one is the inherent thing with all electric cars is that annoying low speed hum, you know, that projected speaker kind of noise as you're driving through the neighborhood. I'm not gonna lie, it really annoys me, and you know, this one's no different than the Cadillac. I hate it on the Cadillac, I hate it on this. It's like noise pollution to me. I wish they would change the laws and get rid of that, because it's really annoying. But other than that, the truth is, I really like the car. You know, it's kind of one of those where, yeah, the looks are, it's a sedan, and you know, it's definitely has a different look in the back, and it takes a little, you know, either you love it or you hate it, or it takes some getting used to. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw it the first time, I'm like, but you know, after you kind of look at it and kind of appreciate the lines of it, you know, it's kind of grown on me, and you know, I actually kind of, you know, I appreciate the design language. It's, you know, it's definitely different, unique. Why did I pick this over the Tesla? You know, the truth is, I'd consider myself a Tesla fanboy. I've never owned one, but I've driven them, you know, hundreds of times, and I've been going back and forth over it. And you know, Tesla definitely turned me on to the whole EV vehicle adventure. You know, by looking at them. But in the end, I just think that Tesla lost their way. They, you know, used to be the super cool, you know, the early Model S's. When you got into them with the huge display, it was so impressive that, wow, this is the way cars should be. And you know, unfortunately for me, I wanted something with a bigger back seat, and that's why we went with the Cadillac Lyrics. The back seat is definitely more comfortable than the Model S. The Model X is a nice vehicle as well. I'm just, you know, the gull-wing doors are kind of cool to look at and fun to watch, but the practicality when you're getting in and out of the car all the time, you know, it's just kind of a nuisance. And then the back seat for passengers really aren't comfortable. You know, the captain's chairs with no armrest is kind of a funny design when you're sitting back there for any length of time. It's like, it's just not the most comfortable. You know, compared to passengers in the Cadillac Lyric. And you know, the truth is, even, you know, the IONIQ 6 is, the back seat is way more comfortable than the Model 3. You'd have to sit them both for yourself to kind of judge that. And price point, you know, right now with the lease deals available on the IONIQ 6, it's almost too good to pass up. You know, and I live in Tupelo, Mississippi, and if you're looking, Barnes Crossing Hyundai, I'll give them a little shout out. They do a great job. I've bought 3 vehicles in the past from them, and I've never walked away from them feeling like I got a bad deal. You know, I mean, car shopping is never fun because inherently you're always going to get taken advantage of. But you know, with Hyundai and these dealerships here, I feel like I got taken for less than other experiences where, you know, like I said, I like the Cadillacs, but I'm not going to say that, oh, I feel like I got the best deal ever. And you know, no, without a doubt, I, you know, spent more than I should have, but it's just the nature of buying vehicles. So if you're in the market and you're considering the IONIQ 6 versus the Tesla Model 3, you know, and you can get one, you know, you don't get the $7,500 tax credit unless you're leasing, and I don't plan on buying the car at the end, just because I think that with everything electric at the moment, that the value will continue to go down. You know, this has, with the NACS plug coming standard on all the new cars, I think that, you know, that's the way I want to be. Not that I'm so worried about charging, because I don't really plan on charging outside of home, except for if I'm traveling, and in that situation, I'm willing. I don't go that far that many times a year. A few times a year I might drive. We're going to take a trip down to Miami here next week, and we're going to drive the Cadillac, and we'll experience that whole adventure of charging. And we're definitely we know we're going to have to put a little extra time in for traveling and charging and that sort. But for 99% of my use, I'm charging here at home, and I would not recommend electric vehicle to anybody that doesn't have the ability to charge at home, because that's what makes it work. Your fill-up cost for a full charge is $8 versus $30 for gas for the same equivalent. So you're definitely going to save, depending on where you live, on your electric rate, but you're definitely going to save a fair bit by charging at home. I went and put 2 chargers in so I can charge this outside on the driveway, because even though I've got 4-car garage, I've got 4 cars and lots of other stuff as well. But I put a charger outside for the vehicles when they're out here. That was the quick fix, as well as having a charger installed into the garage for the wife's car when she's charging here. So with having your charging available at home, that's the only way to do it. Otherwise, you're going someplace to charge the car and leaving it. Not that you can't, but the charging is going to cost you outside your house a lot more to fill up than it would if it was a gas car. You lose any savings that you would have by charging at a public charging station. They have the 2 years Electrify America 30-minute charging for Hyundais, which really means nothing, because especially in the area where I'm at, like I said, I live in Tupelo, Mississippi, there's not a single Electrify America anywhere near within I think 100 miles of my radius of where I'm at. So yeah, if I'm traveling, that would work, but for charging, it's kind of not going to work for my situation. So that's not, yes, if you live in a bigger city and you have those Electrify Americas, but it's only going to be a 2-year thing for you, it's better just to charge at home. So I hope you enjoyed my kind of review of the Hyundai IONIQ 6. A lot of rambling as always, but that's my take. Like I said, I really think it's a great car for the value. Hyundai always does a great job. I think the build quality is good, and if you're considering it, I definitely would recommend looking into it. If you're considering Model 3 or such, it's definitely something to consider. Thanks for watching.